In this video you'll see Death God as he gets reincarnated into a child boy. Watch him on his adventure to become God in this world. Make sure to stick until the end if you wish to see all crazy strong villains in this series. Now hit that subscribe button and we can start the story. In a world filled with magic, soldiers confront a demonic being called the Corpse God. The Corpse God summons a magical weapon and fires it at the soldiers, easily defeating them. When the captain receives word that a legendary hero is on his way, he orders his men to retreat, believing that only a hero can stand against such a threat. Segura, the legendary hero, heads towards the Corpse God. The two engage in combat, and the Corpse God attacks the hero with magic, but is unable to damage Segura, who defends himself with his sword. The Corpse God gathers the souls of the dead, summons an undead dragon, and attacks Segura, but the hero easily cuts him in half with his enchanted sword. The two continue to exchange blows, and Segura manages to push the dragon back. Seeing the disadvantage, the Corpse God summons an army of skeletons to defeat the hero. Segura uses his evil eye, which can see the souls of the dead, and learns that the Corpse God has the same ability. Segura rushes at the skeleton army, jumps over it, and fires a fireball toward the ceiling. This causes the ceiling to collapse, and rocks rain down on the enemy. Segura hits the Corpse God, exposing his brain in a jar, which is his true form. The Corpse God tries to use a powerful spell, but Segura rushes forward with all her might. He thrusts his sword and manages to pierce it, causing a huge explosion that pierces the dark sky, but he struggles to remember the outcome of the battle. Suddenly his memory is clouded, and he wakes up in an alley with a wound on his neck, and it turns out that the Corpse God used reincarnation magic. The Corpse God looks around, unable to understand what is happening, and finds himself in a modern city, unable to recognize anything. He is suddenly spotted by a drone and is surprised when operator Karuya confirms that the boy is already dead. He contacts his team and informs them that the target is still alive. Karuya wonders why the boy is still walking around with his throat slit. Meanwhile, the Corpse God is still having a hard time accepting everything and wonders where he is because everything is so foreign to him. He observes people and sees that everyone seems happy and thinks that this world must be peaceful. But then he is approached and spoken to by two policemen, but he cannot understand what they are saying. He slowly begins to understand them as he pulls language information from his body's brain. He tells the officers that he is fine and identifies himself as Polka. The officers are shocked to see the wound on his neck and tell him that he needs medical attention. But a strange girl suddenly steps on the policeman's head and, happy to see that Polka is alive, grabs him by the arm and dashes off. They reach an alley and the girl introduces herself as Misaki. Polka begins to remember who Misaki is, but Misaki suddenly throws Polka into the air and says she will check to see if he is really alive. However, she suddenly pulls out a crowbar and reveals that it was she who killed Polka in the first place. Polka runs away, and Karuya watches them through the drone. She wonders why he would pay her to kill a 16-year-old boy, but she knows she won't get paid unless Polka dies. Exhausted Polka commented on the limits of his new body. This was because he had used up all his strength in escaping and did not seem to have the ability to use magic. Polka ponders what to do, knowing that a fatal wound would kill him. Misaki appears behind him and throws a knife. She seems to enjoy the hunt and lunges at Polka, who desperately tries to block her attack. He tries to run away, but a dagger thrown by Misaki hits him in the leg and he falls. Misaki admits that he is a threat to her and she gets impressed, fearing that he will run her over if she is not careful. Polka runs away and enters a strange room wondering what is it used for. She reveals that it used to be Akusa's place of execution and that people try to avoid it because it is rumored to be haunted. Polka confirms that the rumors are true by using his evil eye to see the souls of the dead. He realizes that the evil eye is the power of the soul, and even Polka's body can use the evil eye. Misaki tries to finish Polka off, but Polka gathers power from the souls in the room and calls forth a monstrous arm. Back in the other world, the Corpse God appears to have been defeated, but Segura questions the final spell. The soul of the Corpse God has disappeared so quickly that Segura doubts whether he has really been defeated, and his friends inform him that the Corpse God's soul is no longer in their world. But the hero is still skeptical. In a flashback, we learn that the Corpse God could not lead a peaceful life because of the evil eye. He was sold by his parents to a court magician and fought countless battles as a necromancer until the empire fell, but all he really wanted was peace. Eventually, he was living peacefully with humans and even found love, but soldiers began to hunt necromancers who enslaved the spirits of the dead, and during the hunt, they killed those closest to him. Despite all the bloodshed, he still wanted peace, but after centuries of waiting, he still could not find it. Unable to die a natural death, Polka continued to wait for someone who could defeat him. When Polka returned to the present, he was surprised to find Misaki already dead, wanted to question Misaki, and worried that the police would come after him if they found Misaki's body. Karuya sees everything through the drone, but begins to question his sanity when he receives a call from his boss, Clarissa. In another flashback, Misaki's parents really loved her and she enjoyed her childhood, but her life was ruined when her parents were killed in front of her by a man named Zimba. Because of this, she trained to become an assassin and eventually found the man and made him suffer. Misaki reveals that she did not kill him out of revenge, but because her target just happens to be a bad guy and she enjoys killing him. Eventually, she accepts the mission to kill Polka and takes it on, wanting to know what it is like to kill an innocent man. After beating Polka with a crowbar and learning that killing innocent people is also fun, Misaki begins to question her own existence, thinking that she would rather be dead, and even considers taking her own life. Back in the present, Misaki wakes up and is surprised to find that her wounds have healed. Polka reveals that she is technically dead but has been reborn through magic. Clarissa appears before them, and they are suddenly surrounded by men. Now, before we continue, I just wanted to say I enjoy making videos such as this one, and I put many hours into making these videos. So if you want to support me, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on as it helps me achieve my dream. Now back to the story. Clarissa hugs her to see if she's alive, but finds no pulse, and Polka explains that she is same as zombie. Karuya told Clarissa where Polka was 40 minutes earlier. Clarissa found Polka and asked about the emblem she saw while Polka was healing Misaki with his magic. Clarissa says she is Misaki's friend when Polka asked them who they were. Polka reveals that Misaki's brain and soul are still intact, but someone needs to use resurrection magic on her. However, everyone is confused because no one in this world can use magic. Polka, however, tries to convince everyone that they are hallucinating, since they say no one can use magic in this world. They turn their guns on him, but he holds one of them down with a giant skeletal hand and says that they don't know how fragile people are without magic. They suddenly learn that a nearby building is on fire, and Polka's magical eyes see it, but are quickly cut down by many of Clarissa's friends. Clarissa tells them that the building is a safe haven for orphans, and Polka remembers the children she cared for in his previous life and decides to help. Led by Karuya's drone, Polka uses magic to circle the town, allowing him to move faster. Once they reach the building, he uses his evil eye to see the life force of the trapped children. Using his skeletal arm, he throws them into the building, where he sees 4 souls with the afflicted children. They are the souls of the orphans' parents! He asks them for help and creates skeletal bodies to possess them. The skeletons rescue the children, place them in the hands of a giant skeleton, and lay them on the ground. Polka manages to escape, but the event is posted on social media and everyone learns about Polka's skeleton. Karuya wonders what kind of person Polka is for not valuing Misaki's life, but he saves the children from the building, reminding them that Polka is not like them. He tells Clarissa that she should see Polka as a monster and not mess with him, and Clarissa agrees with him and tells him that Misaki is about to wake up. Back in the present, Polka realizes that children are still suffering in this world and wonders how he can restore peace. Clarissa asks him what peace is, and he tells her that he can achieve peace by having lots of money. She asks Polka what he wants, and he explains that he knows nothing about the place but wants to make money using black magic. He wants power and a place to stay so he can achieve peace. Clarissa asks him to join her team. Clarissa is convinced that he is not the same person they wanted to kill and offers to help him adjust to this world. Videos of Polka's skeletons continue to spread online, and Misaki is impressed. Polka uses the skeleton to bring furniture to their new home and spend time with them. Misaki reveals that she's excited to be with the man who killed her. They find out that Clarissa owns the building they are in, which is called the Torture Building and is actually full of ghosts. Polka begins to suspect that he is in another world because the animals look like the ones he knew before, but he is pleased because there is no Geldwood religion in this world, and he explains that. He was once trapped by the religion because he was an abomination called the corpse god. Polka thinks that if he can find the person who wanted his body killed, he will finally have peace. Clarissa knows who it is, but keeps it a secret, and in exchange allows him the use of the building. Polka knows that Clarissa will not accept any more contracts for his life, so he decides to investigate on his own. However, Kuruya reveals that Clarissa is not the only one who can act as an intermediary for the assassin. He admits that there are not many people who could kill Polka, but he mentions the name of a man named Lennings, but quickly dismisses the idea. Kuruya wonders if it was a good idea to bring Misaki back to life, and Polka reveals that the owner of the body asked him to forgive her, and that his soul is in the drone. Polka admits that he has the power to make a person's soul reside in a vessel, and that human life is like a toy to him, making Kuruya seem like a nuisance. Polka considers making money and asks about jobs in the world. Misaki suggests assassination, saying that since he was able to kill her, he must be good at it. At that moment, Misaki has a visitor who wants to see her and asks her to help him because he is being targeted by another gang's hitman. Misaki tells him that she is in the middle of another job, but Polka intervenes and accepts the request, which Misaki also accepts. Word comes in that the hitmen are in an abandoned warehouse, and it turns out that they used to work for Jinba. Misaki dashes toward the warehouse, but is soon ambushed. Misaki fights them off, but is suddenly shot in the back by a man who called for her help. The man reveals that they are there to avenge Jinba and orders his men to kill her as he turns his back on them. Polka sees Misaki grabbing the thug's leg, which gets everyone's attention. Polka tells them that Misaki is a zombie and cannot be killed so easily. Misaki gets back on her feet and sends the thugs flying, while Kuruya calls Polka and asks if he knew it was a trap. Polka says he didn't know, but that he accepted the request because the man was possessed by the spirit of a child. Polka summoned a giant skeletal arm, crushed the men in a ball, and let the souls of the children rest in peace. Later, Misaki was pleased to see that the bullet holes in her body had already healed, and Kuruya wondered why Polka listened to the souls of the children, even though he saw human life only as a toy. Polka, however, reveals that he still values human life because it can make children smile. Therefore, Kuruya realizes that they see themselves as scum, different from Polka, because of the way they treat each other. The other members of the Jinba gang open the armory wanting revenge, but are attacked by the Lennings who annihilates the gang. Polka reads a book about vampires. He claims that vampires are real in his world, and tells Misaki that with enough mana he can turn her into a vampire, which excites her. Meanwhile, Clarissa receives a call from a client who has asked her to assassinate Polka, but she decides to terminate the contract. A man named Kozaburo apologizes for not being able to pay the 60,000 yen beer bill, and a drunk named Sabaki is looking for Clarissa. Back in her room, Polka explains that Misaki's body has repaired itself and is now able to resist corruption and is a little stronger than before. Polka advises her to eat raw meat if she is seriously injured and reveals that her saliva now causes paralysis. Misaki reveals that she can now cause paralysis in Kuruya with her saliva, and when she bites Kuruya to try it, Kuruya falls to the ground. Misaki asks Kuruya if she can try it, but Kuruya refuses, calling her a monster. The word monster reminds Polka of the hero who defeated him, and he wonders if there are others like him in the world. The police investigate the location where Polka subdued the thugs. Lennings appears, smashes the rock that contained the thugs, and disappears. The police hear a noise and rush to the scene, where they find the thugs' bodies. Meanwhile, Kozaburo has finished beating up the men who committed the fraud. He gets a call, and Tsubaki at the bar also gets a call and leaves immediately. Polka realizes that the world is not so different from the one he came from, and begins to wonder if the two worlds are connected. Kuruya mentions the thugs he killed, but Polka reveals that they are actually still alive, but may have lost their minds while trapped in the boulder. Kozaburo and Tsubaki head to the scene and see the dead bodies of the thugs, which look like human knots. The two begin their investigation and reveal themselves to be special police detectives. At the police station, they learn that Tsubaki and Kozaburo are accustomed to dealing with the supernatural. Tsubaki reveals that the three suspects, the Grim Reaper, the fire-breathing bug, and the Lennings. Tsubaki reveals that he found Lennings' footprints at the crime scene. He also investigates the skeleton that saved the orphan child, thinking that it is probably related to the fire-breathing bug that started the fire. He considers the possibility that the two cases are connected, but despite the strangeness of the case, Tsubaki reminds him that the culprits they caught were ordinary people and tells him not to panic. Meanwhile, Polka puts the soul of the original owner into the stuffed animal so that Karuya can use the drone again. Polka apologizes for impersonating the original owner and promises to make it up to him. Misaki sees this stuffed animal, thinks it is cute, and hugs it. Polka says that he can make human vocal cords and make them speak, but he does not have enough mana. He reveals that he is a necromancer. He explains that he can get more mana by exorcising ghosts, and that the souls in their buildings are a great source of mana. Karuya, however, says that there are not many other buildings like this. Polka, however, says that it is okay because the gems of this world are an even greater source of mana. They go to a jewelry store, and Polka is surprised to see how incredibly expensive the gems are. He plans to save up money to buy all the gems in the store, but the owner tells him that it would cost nearly 4 billion yen to buy them all. After leaving the store, Misaki asks why he did not extract the mana from the stones, and Polka reveals that it would be unfair to the store owner because the stones would break after that. The two suddenly encounter Kozaburo, who rushes forward to take the drone. Meanwhile, Tsubaki meets Clarissa at the bar, tells her about the human knot and the building fire, and wants to know if her group is involved in the case. Kozaburo apologizes for surprising them and tries to talk to Karuya, knowing that Karuya is the one controlling the drone, but is interrupted by Polka, who tells him that Karuya is a friend. Kozaburo, however, calls Karuya a scum and tells Polka that he should cut ties with him. Polka remembers a friend who was killed in a previous life and uses his power to take the drone from Kozaburo. Karuya warns him that Kozaburo is a very dangerous man, having witnessed him as he destroyed whole gang single-handedly. He warns Polka not to use his powers, claiming that if he does, he will not be able to live a peaceful life. Kozaburo begins to question Polka, which worries Karuya because he knows that if Polka reveals his relationship with Clarissa, it will trigger an investigation. So Karuya calls Kozaburo and tells him that Polka and Misaki are just friends in a game. He surrounds Kozaburo with a drone and warns him that videos of him pestering innocent children will be spread on the internet. Kozaburo is unfuzzed, however, and calls Karuya cocky, revealing that Karuya sold out his old friends to save his own skin. Misaki suddenly appears behind Kozaburo and knocks him down, claiming that she was just protecting herself from the weirdo. She takes Polka and runs away, and Kozaburo tries to chase after them, but is unable to find them as they escape using Polka's skeletal arm. Karuya tells Polka that what Kozaburo said was true, and admits that he would not hesitate to reveal their secret if it would save his life. Polka, however, tells him that his life is more important than the secret. At the police station, Kozaburo asks an officer to check Misaki's footprints. She immediately recognizes them and matches them to the footprints found at the scene of the human knot crime. Kozaburo's interest in the case is aroused. The veteran officer reveals that he has seen Lennings in the past and claims to have taken the men down in a hail of bullets. The officer doubts that he can deal with Lennings, but knows that they only have the Special Investigation Division to deal with. Meanwhile, Lennings has been absent from the police station for a long time, checking the photos of Misaki's footprints. Tsubaki is now drunk at the bar, talking about the paranormal case he worked on and mentioning the skeletons from the building fire. Clarissa knows he is doing this to taunt their group, but they think they can't let him get in too deep. The women at the bar consider warning Polka, but then he happens to arrive. Tsubaki notices them and receives a message with the description of the person involved in the human knot case, which matches Misaki's, so he asks them to spend some time together. Meanwhile, Karuya sees Kozaburo heading to a bar. Karuya advises them to leave, but it is already too late. When Tsubaki says he has a few questions, Kozaburo joins the group, but the room suddenly goes dark and the two quickly hide from the detectives. Clarissa insists it's not a trick, and Polka sees the darkness with his night vision. However, he sees Lennings on the ceiling and gets scared. Clarissa lights a candle and Lennings appears. Clarissa knows that Lennings is not here to kill people, but Kozaburo thinks to beat up Lennings since he is a wanted man. Polka uses his evil eye and sees countless ghosts around Lennings and realizes that he has killed them all. Lennings attacks the policeman and blows them up like rags. Kozaburo tries to fight back, but his attacks are not effective against Lennings. Lennings makes a dash for Misaki and Polka considers using his powers to get her back, but he is too worried about the cops seeing his magic. Kozaburo continues to pursue Lennings, but is no match for him. Polka realizes that Lennings is a man who, like Segura, has exceeded his limits and knows that he cannot stop him, but he uses his magic to attack Lennings anyway. Sabaki sees the sigil and wonders what it is, but Clarissa covers the candle to darken the room. Polka grabs Misaki by the skeletal arm to escape, and Sabaki checks the skeletal arm with a flashlight on his phone. Lennings charges at Polka, who tries to defeat him with magic but is unable to hit Lennings, who apparently can see even in the dark. Lennings succeeds in breaking the skeleton's arm that was holding Misaki, and Misaki panics. However, he whispers something to her and they begin a casual conversation. Misaki tries to paralyze him by biting him, but is unable to bite through the bandages. Polka uses the magic that possessed Lennings' soul to summon a giant skeleton to attack him, causing Lennings to flee. Lennings then reports to his boss, Takaru, and tells him that Jinba is already dead and Polka is still alive. Kuryai comments their encounter with Lennings, who was named that because he can go anywhere like rats, and is surprised to learn that they have survived. Misaki thanks Polka for saving her, and he says it's okay because Misaki will do the same for him. Polka remembers his mentor's words that since he will live a long life as a necromancer, he should do what he wants to do without thinking about how long it will last. Polka tells his friends that he wants to enjoy peace with them and learn more about them. Polka decides to start a business using his magic to make money and demonstrates how he gives a pen to a soul and lets it write its ideas on paper. Polka shows them a sign of Siz's business, and Kuria doesn't like it, but the soul has other things in mind. Polka begins working as a fortune teller, impressing people with his abilities and letting the soul guide him. It is revealed that the spirit actually knows how to tell fortunes and even teaches him how to do it. Kuruya passes this information on to Polka, who uses his evil eye to gather more information from the spirit within the client. The two split the profits and give some to the real Polka, but the real Polka doesn't want any because he didn't work for it. Kuruya reveals that Polka was born to a wealthy family. The twins, Kazuki and Shizuki, greet them, calling Polka their uncle. Polka decides to trick them, covering his head and saying that he is a corpse god, but they see him as a freak and do not believe him. Kazuki believes that Polka ran away from home because of the people around him. He wants to try fortune-telling and sits down with Polka, but Polka tells him to go when the store opens. Kazuki calls them peasants and won't leave, and she starts arguing with Kuruya, but her bodyguard stops her because he knows Kuruya is recording their conversation. Kuruya tries to provoke her, but Polka notices that Kazuki is about to cry and tells him to stop. He hugs the twins and tells them they have a future together and promises to protect them. Polka talks to the spirit behind the twins, telling them not to worry. Polka says that the spirit is not evil. Polka says that the children remind him of children from a previous life. Polka is the second son of a patriarch named Rosen and can claim his inheritance when Rosen dies. The relatives must want Polka dead. Polka tells them about his bodyguard in a previous life and tries to disguise the skeleton as a guard. But since he does not look like a human, he turns to Misaki, thinking she would be suitable for the job. On their way home, the twins meet Takaru, who asks about Polka. When the twins learn that Polka is returning home, they look forward to meeting him. He advises the twins to be careful. He says that it would be terrible if another accident like the one that happened to their sister were to happen, and reveals that their sister is the spirit that is pursuing the twins. Polka is amazed at the size of the house and is greeted by the twins and Takaru, who asks about his companion, and to his surprise, Misaki politely introduces herself. Moving to the dining room, Misaki makes up a story about how Polka saved her when she was about to jump off a building. We learn more about the Shinayama family. Polka is the son of Rosen's second wife, and Kuruya warns him about Takaru. Kuruya mentions that he is 26 years old, and that he is the president of the Shinayama Security Group, which is notorious for being shady. Misaki is suddenly embraced by Takaru's wife, Kiri. Kiri is moved by Misaki's story and says she will help her if she needs help, and they welcome her as a friend. Polka is impressed by Misaki's performance and tries to do his best, but is suddenly questioned by Shizuki, who sees the shark on her shoulder move. Polka asks where the rest of the family is, and Shizuki says they are the only ones home because they are all at work. But Rosen suddenly walks in and reminds her that he is there too. Polka apologizes for running away from home, but says he is just glad to be back. Rosen listened to Misaki's story and wanted to hear more. They move to a private room, and he tells him what has been going on since he left. Polka thinks he has successfully fooled his father, but Rosen suddenly asks, "Who are you?" Polka is confused, and Rosen says that Polka looks like his son, but he is sure he is someone else. Polka says he was fooling around, but Rosen suddenly thrusts his sword at him, saying that a father can recognize his own son. He asks if the real Polka is still alive, but suddenly Polka senses that the twins are in danger and tells him he must go. He promises to protect the twins, and Rosen lets him go. As Polka runs off, there is a mysterious girl in the room who says that Rosen should have killed the imposter while he had the chance. But Rosen says he just couldn't kill him. Suddenly, there is an explosion in the distance, the twins flash back, and Kazuki tells his sister that she lost her wallet in the forest. Her sister Suzuka goes outside to find the wallet, but runs into her cousins who are plotting to kill the twins. Suzuka panics and rushes to warn them, but ends up being burned to death and becoming spirit that haunts them, begging someone to save them. Back in the present, the twins hear an explosion and are told that there is a fire. The twins follow the man, and Suzuka asks them not to go. Meanwhile, Tsubaki and Kozaburo visit Tenya, a troublemaker known as the Phantom Solitaire, to see if he knows anything about the fire. When Tenya is surprised to see the skeleton, Tsubaki tells him that he thought it was connected to the case based on the traces of Firebug. Tsubaki deduces that the Firebug must have infiltrated their target in disguise, taken their time to prepare, and struck when no one was looking. The children are led to an escape tunnel, but Kazuki realizes something is wrong. Suzuka tries to stop him, but can't really do anything. As the man approaches the twins, Misaki suddenly appears, kicks the man out, and tells Suzuka that she is there to save the children, even though she cannot be seen. The man removes his disguise, stands up, and mentions that he was looking forward to feasting on the children. Misaki tells the twins to run away, and they do it quickly. The man calls himself Zaku, a killer among killers, and seems to know Misaki's true identity. He suddenly set the whole room on fire, but Misaki charged straight at him, making him wonder if she was human. Misaki wonders why he doesn't go after the children, but the man reveals that they have nowhere to run. The twins wonder if they are being punished for what happened to Suzuka and vow to apologize if they see her again. The ceiling collapses over their heads, but Polka manages to catch the debris with his skeleton-like arms in time. Polka promises them that they have a bright future and that Suzuka is not angry. They manage to get outside, and Takaru thinks about cleaning up the trash. Thinking that the firebug must have killed the twins, they see their cousin, the mastermind of the attack, but as his motorcycle approaches, they are suddenly surrounded and the man is taken care of. Zaku returns to the compound and is surprised to find that the twins survived. He decides to retreat, but is caught by Polka. He disguises himself as a maid, but Polka sees his soul and points out that he is possessed by the servants who stole his face. Misaki suddenly appears, kicks him against the wall, and is glad to see him as a zombie. Zaku tells her not to get carried away and uses his gloves to start another fire. He insists that he is a firebug and will do his best no matter what. Polka wondered if he had enough mana to break through, but suddenly he felt another presence. Lenning suddenly appeared and defeated the man. However, he signaled to him to be quiet and disappeared again. Zaku was eventually taken away by the police and wondered how he was going to escape when a firebug sign suddenly appeared on the roof and he knew he was a fake. He suddenly bursts into flames, causing an explosion, and we see a mysterious girl watching from afar. And that's about it for this video. Make sure to drop a like and tell me how you rate this anime. Before you leave, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I upload multiple videos every week, so make sure not to miss them. Thanks for watching until the end, and see you in next video!